Hello, Geeks and Ghouls. You should never start this series with book 1 or book 2. And I'm talking about Jo Nesbo's Harry Hole series. This is book 2, Cockroaches, translated of course. But yeah, this guy is from Norway, so you'll probably read this translated as well. So yeah, this is book 2, and it's probably the one of the 3 Harry Hole books I haven't read. I just finished it. And yes, I do believe that you should not start with book 1 or book 2. Go straight for book 3, Redbreast. And I believe I've only done reviews for books, I don't know, maybe The Snowman. I've definitely done Leopard, Police, and Phantom. I'm not sure if I have done Thirst. I definitely haven't done any of the books before Snowman because I've read them before I started YouTubing. Jo Nesbo used to be the king of crime thrillers. He was writing some bloody Scandinavian crime thrillers. He's sort of like James Patterson in a way. He's just much better of a writer than James Patterson and his cadre of ghostwriters. And I have to say that his first 2 books are misses. I won't so much review this book, I'll review every other book in the series as well. So let's start with the bat. Jo Nesbo used to be working in finances and also he was a pop singer, so he was a minor celebrity. He goes to Australia and he says, I'll write a book, sort of like autobiography about touring in Australia. But instead he's inspired and writes a crime novel called The Bat. It's about a police officer from Norway who has problems with alcoholism. His name is Harry Hole. And lots of issues, and he goes to Australia to hunt down a serial killer who killed a Norwegian citizen. And this book is mostly competent, I guess. It was successful in Norway, probably because he was already a celebrity, but nothing to write home about. It's a very mediocre book that is not that well paced. I can only think of one set piece, the opera scene that shows the promise of what the author can deliver later. It's sort of an Argento set piece about something that happens that's very theatrical and operatic and really stands out. But overall, I think that the mystery and the reveal were not that great, not that well paced. There was too much bathos in the plot, and if you hear about Jo Nesbo is an awesome author, you should read it, and you go for The Bat, you'll be like, what? That's bullshit. That's a mediocre book. Book number 2, Cockroaches. I'll be honest with you, I was avoiding reading this one for years and years because I have heard that nobody talks about it, and while the events of The Bat are mentioned in the next books, this one is almost forgotten. So we have another Harry Hole trip abroad. This time he goes to Thailand because the ambassador was murdered under mysterious circumstances. And it's a much better book in my opinion. That's a much better book. It's got a sense of dark humor that I haven't seen much of in the entire Harry Hole series as far as I remember. It's got some fun lines, very dark. And the police mystery is kind of interesting. It's very intricate, there are a lot of characters. Of course, it's set in Thailand, so you know what comes with Thailand and people from Norway and people from Europe going to Taiwan, to Thailand, okay? But it doesn't get that dark. It's got a lot of intrigue, some murders. There is a very cool secondary character that I enjoyed a lot. And I didn't see the killer coming, which was interesting. Of course, Harry Hole is Harry Hole. He's established as a character here. He is self-destructive, and that's that what you think of. He's tortured by his past and self-destructive. So there is that. But yeah, overall, it was a decent book, I guess. But again, nothing to write home about. Once more. Now, Redbreast. Redbreast is really interesting. It was the first Harry Hole book I've read, so I cannot be sure if it's as awesome as the rest of it, as the book that came after, but I was impressed. It's set in Norway. It set off a big plot line that resolves throughout the next 3 or 4 books, and really establishes Harry Hole and his descent into his corruption arc, and also introduces two very important secondary not too very important, actually introduces most of the secondary characters that we'll have throughout the next novels. So it's a good idea to start there. It's a very decent novel. What really impressed me when I read this one was that it's not a whodunit. Basically, Harry Hole, being Harry Hole, screws up during, he calls it diplomatic incident because he's a good detective, alright? That's all you need to know. And he's relegated to a desk job. So as he reviews some reports, he realizes that, oh shit, somebody is going to do a high-profile murder. And I have to find out who that guy is, as well as who is going to get murdered. It's not a whodunit, it's a who will do it. It's a great twist in the genre, which I found very interesting. And of course, there is a big part of a character remembering his days in World War II. And as you may know, people from Norway did not fight World War II in the side of angels. There are a lot of plot lines coming together, and when the murder does happen, you're like, what the fuck? It doesn't make any sense. So there's a lot of intrigue, a lot of things happening, a lot of twists and turns, and very interesting secondary characters. There is, of course, the B-plot that plays throughout books 1 to 3, that once you finish reading it, the book, you're like, I want to read the next book because I want to see what happens. So that's definitely a win. You know, you get the hype there. I got the hype when I read this one. So, oh, this Jo Nesbo guy is really good. So we go to the fourth book, Nemesis, and the secondary plot line kept me interested because it's resolving, and by the end of the book, we have established a great cliffhanger for it. I think that the main plot of this book was kind of too much. The main character, Harry Hole, is framed for a murder and he has to prove his innocence. And the way it's done, it's convoluted, and it really stretches on the ideas of, plausibility. The fifth one, I think it's called The Devil's Star. If not, there will be a correction below in text. And it's about some satanic murders happening throughout Oslo, and that was very interesting. I like the plot. I'm not sure, I may have seen this plot in a crime show before, but it's really interesting when you get the solution, because it really plays very well with the tropes of the genre. And I really loved how the B-plot, the big 3 book arc, gets to the way, and how it progresses, I'll say. It really keeps the book up. Both the A part and the B part are great. Definitely another win for Jo Nesbo. And I have to say that you start to see he is very Argento-ish. His books are very Argento-ish in a way that Argento did in his crime gialli. I think we have the introduction of a secondary character who is very good at recognizing faces because of her genetics. And it's like that, and devices and operatic murders and stuff happening and twists and turns. He's very much like Dario Argento. There are brutal killings, of course. I'm a gore hound, I'm a horror fan, and yeah, Jo Nesbo can get very nasty with anatomy. Not like he's writing horror, but almost there. There is definitely some giallo influence in his writing. He's very good at playing with tropes like Argento did, and also coming up with some over-the-top solutions and kills. So yeah, we love the guy. And now we get to Redeemer, which it's not a murder story per se. It's about a former Yugoslavian, I think he's Bosnian, a Bosnian assassin who has the knack of getting lost in the crowd because he has a very forgettable face. And he's in Oslo, and there's a manhunt for him, and a lot of stuff happening. Definitely interesting. It's a great sense of pace. It sounds like somebody gets murdered, and Harry Hole has to find the killer. There is some variety here, and I enjoyed that. And then we get to the big hit, the Snowman. It's book 7, and maybe people will say, just go straight to the Snowman. but I'll say no, don't do it, because there's a lot of plot threads being resolved here. There is a whole personal plot thread about, let's say, Harry Hall's family throughout the previous 4 books that gets, it's very important for Snowman. But yeah, it's his breakout hit, I guess, not breakout hit, his big book, because it resolves a lot of plot lines, a lot of stuff happening, really propels the series towards somewhere else entirely. It's very climactic. It brings together a lot of secondary threads into a big narrative, and of course, there are some brutal fucking kills. If you have seen the movie, you should read the book, because the movie is vastly inferior to the book. If you're like, I want to read some crime novels, start from Redbreast, go to Snowman, and you're good. You've read a great arc of crime novels, 5 of them, to be more precise. Then I've talked about the Leopard. It's equally good. It's not as, it's not as tropey as Snowman, because Snowman is a serial killer thriller. So it's something you understand. Leopard feels more like hardboiled crime, and same is Police and Fandom. They're more hardboiled crime novels than whodunits. But for more info, look at the reviews I've made. There should be links below, I guess, or up there, or whatever. I'm not sure what I'll do in the editing. But yes, when you get to Thirst, book 11 of the series, book 10 ends the big cliffhanger. For a good chunk of the book, it's about Harry Hall's team trying to trap a serial killer, and Harry's not there. No, I won't review this book because... no, I won't go further, because that's half of the fun is trying to find out what the hell happened in book 10. So yeah, it's another serial killer thriller, and it's kind of interesting. There is... I can't talk about this book without spoilers. I'm sorry. I think that's why I never did a review about it. Yeah. Honestly. But yes, there are 2 more Harry Hall books out there, The Knife and Blood Moon, and I haven't read them yet, so I can't comment. I say that Thirst is not top-notch Harry Hall, but boy, that was a great reminder of how good the previous books were. There are reasons why that is, and there is something very alienating about this book, that once you get to the point where you say, Holy Mother of God, he went there, which was very interesting, I guess. I mean, there is this slight speculative fiction element in those books. I mean, in one, you know what I'm reminded of? I'm reminded of Argento's Four Flies on Green Velvet, where there comes a device that helps the detectives solve the crime through to genius, scientific work. And this element exists throughout the Harry Hole books. It's not like a gimmick, but there is a sense of not unrealism, not fantasy exactly, but there is this element of hyperbole, of taking something, an edge towards speculative fiction that makes the book stand out. Which, yes, it's fiction. It's not fully realistic. But then again, having crime novels in Norway is not realistic, because the murder rate there is abysmally low, as long as they don't become like Sweden. But truly, this is another kind of worms, alright? Sorry, this is me wilding, and it seems like I've lost my train of thought. But as I was saying, in Thirst, there is an element like that, a very hyper-real element that is grown worthy. It was the first time reading the Jo Nesbo book, and I was like, no, dude, I don't believe you. You're bullshitting me. I don't want to spoil things, but if you read this book, you know what I'm thinking about. You're probably growing yourself, and like, you're suspending disbelief. Hardcore, dude. I can take a woman who remembers every face she sees, or a dude who is invisible to everybody because he has a plain face, but no, I cannot accept that. And that's exactly the point. So yeah, They're fun books and a really interesting series for crime fans or even for horror fans who are down for some crime. There is this hard, violent thriller element throughout these books. And yes, and that the books that come after Snowman are more hard-boiled crime, but they're far more brutal too. Like brick with spikes to the face. It's somewhere there, all right? There's some very brutal kills because you don't have to do with the maniacs who want to kill people for their own reasons. You have hardboiled criminals who want to kill people for their own reasons. That's where things go extra hardcore. So yeah, if you've read this series, I would love to hear your opinions in the comments. As always, like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.